Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Healing Body, Mind, and Soul with Aeriol. I'm Aeriol Asher, your host, and I'm here today with my dear friend, Marilyn. Marilyn and I have just been chatting before the show about how we met, and it's so awesome. Marilyn is an avatar master with 43 years of experience leading people into consciousness. She's just an amazing woman, and we met at a networking event. I'm just going to go ahead and tell the story and spill the beans. We met at a networking event, and I said, "Oh, what do you do?" And she says, "Oh, I teach people to take responsibility for their lives." And although I totally was in alignment with what she said, you people know me, I blurted out, "Well, you're going to need to get better marketing because nobody wants to take responsibility." And we laughed and laughed, and bless her heart, she wasn't offended by me, which happens sometimes. But she did agree. That was about 5 years ago, and she did agree to come on to my podcast here and speak to you all about the Avatar program and about what she's up to as a healing force on this planet. I consider her just an amazing, amazing spiritual teacher and a wonderful friend. So without further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to you. Just tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Well, thanks, Aeriol. It's such a privilege. As soon as you invited me, it was a quick yes, because I just have always resonated with you from the very first moment, and we have spent some really incredible moments together, and I always leave feeling better than when it started. It's really great.
You're too kind.
Well, you had asked me at the beginning what got me started on this path, and basically, you know, it was kind of a sad event. It was a divorce. I had married hastily into someone. It was a very chemical relationship, and
we've all been there. That's okay.
And I was very naive, but anyway, it turned out to be one of those that was filled with a lot of anger. And after about 10 years into it, I noticed that it was really beginning to have bad effects on my children. And so I decided that what I would do was get out of the marriage. I had been a newspaper reporter. That's where I met him, at the San Francisco Examiner. And then when I became a mom, I quit working, and I became like a stringer for little newspapers. But I knew that I could not really, I had to up my earning ability to be a single mom. And I wanted to have the same hours as my children, so they have the same hours of my children, who were 8 and 9 at the time. I decided to become a high school teacher and teach journalism. So I get to the school. This was in, I started in September of 1969.
Oh
and
my gosh.
For those of you who were alive then, you can remember that was just the dawn of hysteria, you might even say. But it was the dawn of a whole new way of opening our consciousness. Psychedelic drugs were in the realm, and my kids were showing up really, really high in class. Guys were scared of being drafted. The draft was still in. Girls exercising their sexual freedom. They were running away from home to go to Haight-Ashbury and hang out and have sex on the grass. And abortions were not legal then. And
oh my gosh.
so that was the world that I was teaching in. And I knew after about maybe 6 months or so that I was in that environment to do something more than teach journalism. So I was also wanting to raise my salary as soon as I could. And one way you do that is you take continuing education units, and then you have these different plateaus where you get a raise by accumulating units. So I decided that I knew enough about journalism and English that I could easily teach that. I was going to take courses in how people think and psychology and behavioral sciences so that I could understand the kids better. And my kids were approaching teenage too. And so I was doubly concerned. So during that time, I met a man in a summer school course in 1973, and it was called Techniques of Proof Encounter. And we just was one of those things that there was no chemistry in this one. He was married. He definitely wasn't my type, but we thought alike and we laughed at everything. And kind of like you and I, Aeriol, it was just one of those things where I say something, he says something, and first thing you know, we're creating something. So he invited me to do the EST training, which was 13 months old in that time. And I had the privilege of Werner Erhard even being one of my trainers.
Wow, that's cool.
I was really lucky. And it blew my mind because I had been raised in a very fundamental Christian home. And all of a sudden I was getting, wow, you mean my beliefs are important, that it's my beliefs that create a reality, that if I believe a certain way, that's what I'm going to create. And I better start watching what I believe if I want to create something different. And so that just started me. And about 3 years later, while I was still teaching school, he and I created a business together. It was called the Sage Experience. And I also started working with a co-teacher, amazing teacher, Maureen Ortiz, in the Fremont Unified School District in Sunnyvale and Cupertino, teaching self-esteem courses to at-risk kids with great results. And so anyway, I did that for 17 years. And then one of my students came to me and says, Marilyn, you know, I have done every workshop you have ever taught. I just became a licensed avatar master, and I'm going to be delivering my first course under the guidance of one of the most experienced avatar masters on the planet. Why don't you come and be my first student? So how could I refuse? So I did. Well, long story short, on day 5, I realized that the tools, the avatar tools, are gentle. They're personal. They don't have to be done in a lotus position in a room away. I mean, you can use these tools talking to someone. You can use these tools in moments at your computer. I mean, driving down the street, anytime. And they were so effective and took a lot less time. And Avatar is a one-on-one course, even though we do it in a huge group. It's what would you call a global organization. We ordinarily meet in 9 days in Orlando, Florida. And there are 35 countries there. All the materials are translated into, right now, I think it's 27 languages.
Oh my gosh.
We have avatar masters who are private consultants. We do not work for the company. We're licensed to deliver the avatar course, and we gather together from all over the world, bringing our students, giving them one-on-one care, but yet they have people from all over the world to practice these tools on. And the tools are to help them explore the mental blueprint, or a more up-to-date would be the operating system of their mind, which is largely indoctrinated and unawares. We live our lives, you might even say, puppets to our mind. And so we learn to manage our mind and to what we call discreate those sabotaging beliefs that we, for example, let's say I had a big brother and he told me that I was stupid, and it had some effect on my success in later life, you know, or, and, you know, any of those beliefs that people just blurt out to us, but you're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, you believe those people. They know more than you do. They're smarter. And then you live the rest of your life following the dictates of a mind. So by being able to find those beliefs and then to take the attention that's stored in them, that keeps them so solid, take that attention, learn how to direct them where you want, into your goals, into what you want to do, into your life's purpose, into your health, your relationships, your job, and live the life that you want to live instead of being unconsciously a puppet to a mind that it'll just believe anything you feed it, you know?
Right. I love, like, don't go, it's a dangerous neighborhood. Don't go there by yourself, right? Don't go there alone.
And yet when you learn to manage it, you have the most amazing tool in the world for creating what you want, because that's what its job is to take your beliefs and give them to you. That's
Right.
job, is to create the reality of your beliefs. And once you can decide what your beliefs are, you have an amazing, amazing ally in your mind.
Yes, I think that's very important to talk about beliefs. Um, as opposed to values, right? Because it's a different thing. I hear a lot of coaches talking about values, and if you don't straighten out your beliefs, you have no idea what your values are. So it's like a layer deeper.
Well, your beliefs direct your values.
Certainly,
So,
certainly.
and your beliefs direct the way you perceive life, or what we call our experience. And so our experiences can change, our values can change, just by getting to the root of them, which is, what do I believe about this? And that's a wonderful question. You asked me if there's any tips. One of the tips that I tell people is, when you're doing something, just stop for a moment. When you're even thinking something, why am I thinking this? Why am I doing this? What is the intention of self-sabotage? Why would I be self-sabotaging myself by believing I can't do this task before I've even tried?
Right.
So it's really good to question yourself continually, because that's the doorway, is begin to question these beliefs. And even when you're really happy about something, wow, what was my intention? How did I create this success? What's the belief that allows me to create this success? I'd like to make sure that I use it again. I want to remember this.
Yes, remember that. Marilyn.
Good memory bank, either way.
Yes. Get more RAM. Get more. Yes. So Marilyn, if people wanted to find out more about you or about the Avatar course, where could they get some information, or how can they get hold of you?
Well, I could definitely give you my phone number, which is 408-378-9958. And my email address is Marilyn, Marilyn, at Avatar SV. And that stands for Avatar Silicon Valley. A, V is in Victor, A, T is in Tom, A, R is in Ronald, S is in Sam, V is in Victor.com. And I would love to talk to anybody. And I do have an amazing little 40-minute slideshow that does a really good job of not only giving you an experience of the course. There's some excerpts from some of the books that Harry Palmer wrote, who is an amazing man who created the course. And there are 4 avatar tools that you get to learn in this 40-minute intro. Deal.
Yeah, I think I've seen that video. I'm very interested. I would love to find out more about his work. So you can count me in, Marilyn. That's just wonderful. And what was that term that what was the term that you were using about leading people from the adversarial mindset, right? Or how did you phrase it?
Well, what we can do when we do take control of our mind is that we're able to shift the adversarial mindset that is now so rampant on the planet and has been forever. Cain and Abel, I mean, that was an adversarial combo, and whether you say that was true or whether it's a myth or whatever, this is ingrained into us. It is indoctrinated. It's there's this scale that we have that has 2 poles on it, and there's up and there's down and there's left and there's right and there's liberal and conservative and hot and cold and pretty and ugly. And we argue about these things all the time, and it's in our own lives. We do it with our lovers, with our kids, with our neighbors, with our coworkers, with the television set. You know, it doesn't even have to be an animate object. We can argue with it.
I think my grandmother, that was actually her profession.
But in the middle of that, what would you call it, a spectrum or whatever,
yeah,
is this unbiased, neutral, what would we call it, a equilibrium, a balance, which is really the focus of every teacher I know that teaches the healing arts, whether it's physical or emotional or mental or all of them. We talk about balance, and within this equilibrium of balance between these two poles, that's where life flourishes. And that's
correct.
what we want, the life on a planet that flourishes. And we got to start with ourselves. So that's what Avatar does. It starts with yourself, and then you take it out into the world.
Awesome. You know, I tell my clients, you know, Buddha went for the middle path, right? We want to take the middle path. And I always tell my clients, because my clients tend to be very high achievers, right? So I'm instead of the A+, could we go for the C+, right? Just like, which is like, I don't know, it's just a funny example that I give my some of my clients who are a little bit ambitious like that, you know, like, so anyway, I love this. This is such juicy stuff. I could talk to you all day, Marilyn. Marilyn, could you give them your email for contact information one more time if somebody wants to get more information about the Avatar course? It's
Marilyn at avatarsv.com.
fantastic.
And I would like to mention that Harry is a prolific writer, and he has many books out, but 4 of them are just things that anyone who wants to transform this adversarial mind into one of cooperation and compassion and collaboration would want to read. And I can also get those books to you. They're really awesome.
Fantastic. Well, I think that in the grand stage, our world is really playing out all this adversarial mindset loud and clear. And we had a couple conversations before we started today. So I really hope that our audience today has gotten a lot of juicy tidbits. And thank you, Marilyn. Thank you so much for coming on today. I just love you so much. Like I said, I could spend all day with you. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And make sure to tune in next time. And until then, happy healing.